effects also. Oh, it's starting now.
It's starting now. Hare Krishna, dear viewers. Oh, sorry, listeners.
Hare Krishna.
Viewers.
We
Now we
usually
have
sound
viewers
effects.
also.
Oh, okay. We usually have sound effects with you.
Yeah,
The intro.
yeah,
It's playing now.
yeah. It's playing.
Oh, because it's the new. I'm new now to the podcast.
We don't have the nice and fancy TV screen
Yeah.
behind us anymore.
I was gone in starting in London, so I missed Puri. He set up a very smooth way of making the podcast, and I feel completely alien now to the whole process. I feel Puri did such a nice job taking over, so now I'm coming and looking like a nonsense. Wow, and I'm on camera. Everything's different. I feel completely out of place. Anyway, so maybe you can introduce the topic, Brian.
Yes, Hare Krishna, everybody. We're signing in from London, UK, as we're not yet kicked out from this country. So, today's topic is London Sankirtana. We want to share some of our stories that we how do you say? The story is experienced or
Yeah, you experienced the story.
that remember.
Stories
Story
that
to-
have been made. Stories that have been made in the experience of being in London.
Yeah, we are fully engaged in
Harinam Sankirtana.
in going to the streets and talking to people. We've been doing this for the last week,
Yeah.
every day. So it's been very nice. The weather has been
It's like hotter than the southern tip of Spain.
it is completely à London.
Yeah.
À London. It is anti-London weather. I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with Krishna that he is.
Krishna is very merciful on London now. Who's the god of weather? Of good
Indra.
weather? Indra is good god of good weather, demigod of good weather.
Yes. So and what is special? Harley is watching. Hare Krishna, Harley.
Hare Krishna.
Harley is our die-hard listener. He's been listening every single podcast since we started, I think.
It's unbelievable. I mean, every single podcast. He also puts comments on all the podcasts. He gives his feedback. Jai.
And he also gives donations.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, Harley, for being there.
He plays them to his son in the car when he goes to school. That's also very nice. Harley is doing preaching
Yes.
by sharing with his son. His son's going to be a top-notch Mahabhagavat by the time. He's going to be a top-notch devotee.
Yeah. So today we're also streaming this podcast recording on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, you can see this in video. We decided to reveal
The behind the scenes.
the behind the scenes, very confidential. We're showing our faces today, and we have friends also watching and writing comments. I don't know. It's only Harley. I can see only Harley here.
It says there's 5. Yours says 5. Mine
Yeah.
says 3. Facebook's cheating everyone.
Yeah, please write a comment. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Write a comment. So anyway, those who are listening on YouTube, they don't know what is going on.
Yeah, I just had this thought that it's going to be a very there's going to be some error in communication or some spacing in communication between people who are watching on Facebook and people who are listening on YouTube.
They will suspect us that we're working for Facebook to alert people on Facebook.
Right. Yeah, we're working for both sides now.
Yeah.
Okay, so it shows Harley.
Right.
Anyway, let's maybe get into the podcast content so people on YouTube don't feel left out.
Yeah. Yeah. So we started on Tuesday, right? We started on this Westminster Bridge.
Yeah, Westminster. Yeah.
Yeah. And people are very nice. Besides the weather, the people are also nice. Usually, that is what is going on book distribution. The weather and people are one.
Yeah, it's true.
If it's raining and if it's nasty, then people are also nasty. And I had the good fortune to meet the parliament member,
Wow, that was wild.
Mrs.
Jolly.
Judith Jolly.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know that it was her. I don't even know now who she is. But Maitreya skillfully took a snapshot. I was talking to this elderly lady. I was trying to distribute book to her, and then our other friend, Narada Muni Prabhu.
Yes,
Narada Muni, that's a nice name.
it's a sweet name.
He spotted her and he informed us that this is actually a parliament member. How do you call it? PM?
Yeah, I don't exactly know her position, but she's somewhere in the government. That's yeah. I would say he said PM. Yeah, in the parliament.
Yeah. So that was amazing. I was very happy that at least a parliament member. Krishna is showing us giving some hints that you should push for the government.
We got the big shots now. We can infiltrate from the top.
Right.
Down.
Right. This is where all the big shots are. So we're gonna go to see Mr. Johnson. Right. There's a very funny hair, Mr. Johnson.
It's not his real hair. I'm sure it's got to be some kind of toupee. It looks like it's about to fall off most of the time.
Okay.
But I think that in the parliament they have these big shouting matches. You've seen this?
Yeah.
They just scream at each other and hurl insults. So I don't think it will be too much of a disturbance for them if we kick in the door, very loud Harinam Sankirtan on the Mridangas, playing the drums very loudly. People, they're not going to mind. It's almost so much noise going on in there. And we can change the whole world, Prabhu, if we start with the parliament.
They will hardly notice. Yeah, so that was a kind of a nice thing we experienced. Mrs. Judith Jolie, I just spoke to her for maybe a minute or two, and she was in rush, and I think she didn't have any cash on her.
Ah.
That's why she couldn't afford. I mean, we always say the same standard line. Have you heard of yoga or meditation? I think she said, I'm so spaced out, I don't remember even what she said, but I think she said that she's practicing some kind of a meditation.
Okay.
She was attracted to the word meditation. So Mrs. Judith Jolie saw us.
Yeah. And also you mentioned a point there that's actually one of the how do you say, like, obstacles we're experiencing now in London, and I suppose probably all over the world. It's obviously, as we all know, it's a global issue. Coronavirus is creating a cashless society now. People are very scared to hand out the paper money. When I was a younger teenager, I heard some. I don't know if it's like a, how do you say, what is that? It's an urban myth. And this is not for the weak of heart, but I heard that on $100 bills there is cocaine. There's traces of cocaine, or other kind of things like this. So the money is very contaminated. This kind of like this in America, it's even made out of like a cloth material. So it's very easy, and it gets all kinds of diseases and stuff. So now people are cautious about handing out cash money, paper money, and that is a little debilitating for the book distribution in general. So anyway, it appeared that Krishna gave some inspiration to some technology person, some engineer, and right when we needed it, we decided we needed a card reader. There appeared on the market a brand new card reader from Google. And one problem I have to also bring up for this point to make sense is that being here in England, we don't have any access to data. So pretty much every card reader on the market you can buy, they rely that you have access to a Wi-Fi point or data on your phone. So if you don't have your own shop, if you're going out and distributing books everywhere in a city like we are, it doesn't really work. So anyway, it had just been made, this new reader, and it had just appeared in a store that was very close to us. I mean, probably within the 2 days of me seeing it. So Krishna arranged very timely, and now we have a card reader, so it has data, and we can take it anywhere and everywhere, and people can get access to the books even if they are short on cash. So that was a really great mercy of Krishna. Very nice. So now books are also going out a lot more, and it's very ecstatic book distribution despite this obstacle.
Yeah, I see that Roma, this girl, is again watching. So just to explain what we actually are doing, we're monks, and we're distributing these nice books of our spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is the founder of the Hare Krishna movement. And this movement was started actually 500 years ago in India by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has inaugurated the Sankirtana, which is basically a mantra meditation movement. And our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, has brought it to the Western countries in the 60s. And it created quite a revolution in the Western world. People have become more interested in yoga and vegetarianism. And our spiritual master has translated these ancient Vedic scriptures, which are basically the core or the root source to learn meditation and yoga, and to understand the philosophy behind reincarnation and karma, all these topics that are basically thrown nowadays, randomly without, so yeah. So we have dedicated our life because we think, we know, we don't think, we know that these books can actually change this world, not on the material platform, but on the spiritual platform. The material laws are going on, the suffering is there, the disease, the virus is there, definitely. But and that we cannot change, but we can change our consciousness. And if the consciousness is changed, then the material circumstances also are being influenced. See, but if we absorb our minds in the material circumstances only, material affairs, and we do not cultivate our consciousness, then there's no hope. The consciousness gets more and more degraded, and the conditions are getting more and more degraded. So we need elevation of consciousness, and that is called Krishna consciousness, the connection of the minute consciousness with the supreme consciousness, Krishna. So we do that through chanting of the Maha Mantra. So maybe we can do a little kirtan.
Oh yeah, okay, nice. Live kirtan. Live Facebook stream, podcast, kirtan.
Where are the kirtans,
Yeah, they're in my bag actually. I can get them. Just in the front pocket. So kirtan, kirtan is a mantra meditation, but we make it musical also. We add these cool instruments like the mridanga, which is a very nice drum. It's got a small side here, so it makes these two varieties of sounds, which also have their own varieties of sound, like sub-varieties of sounds. And so this instrument is very signature, and it makes all kinds of wonderful beats. And then we have the cartels also, which are two I don't know exactly what these, bass. think that might be brass.
Yeah.
Brass hand cymbals, just 2 discs of metal, and they make this the Hare Krishna sound. So if you hear this coming down the street, you know who it is.
Krishna
That was kirtan. We can speak theoretically and explain theoretically, but you also must hear. What is the effect of kirtan, Prabhu? Why would anyone do this?
Well, he becomes he's reminded of his original eternal nature. When we hear the chanting of the Maha Mantra, by the way, Maha Mantra is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We're reminded of our eternal nature. We're not this body. We're eternal. We're the soul. So this sound vibration is not a material made up vibration like Facebook. And Facebook is a mundane made up vibration. This mantra is passed down through a disciplic succession of spiritual masters, and ultimately is coming from the absolute realm, from the spiritual world. So that is why this mantra has such a potency that it can revive our eternal consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada says that the first symptom of this awakening is that one feels the desire to dance along with the chanting of the mantra. The soul is being awakened. It is not like an ordinary music. It is the transcendental music, transcendental vibration. So by chanting Hare Krishna, we are becoming free from the influence of the material nature, from the influence of the mind, especially the mind.
What is that? What is that influence of the material nature? I don't follow. What is the influence of the mind?
Well, there are things that we don't want to think about, and still we have to think about them because we're controlled by the mind. So when we chant, the mind freaks out and becomes submissive to Krishna. This is the whole secret. So, like that.
Yeah, we take this chanting and we bring it to the streets. Right now, it's on the streets of London. It should be global. It should be on the streets everywhere, all over the world. And it's in many places. But anyway, yeah, we take it to the streets because people should hear this vibration. Like we was just talking about, it's not a mundane vibration. So it's not like so many other musical acts you see in public. In London, there are many baskers. Not so many anymore because of Corona, but there are many still buskers. And they go out and they play their instruments and they sing their songs or their karaoke. But it doesn't really do any benefit to people in general. People get some little pleasure by hearing some song and some nice music or whatever. But it doesn't give them any benefit for the soul. Like Prabhu also just said, it's very nice that the soul is waking up when it hears this vibration, because it's coming from the spiritual plane, the plane of pure consciousness, this vibration. So when you chant Hare Krishna, actually it gives benefit to the people around you, not just to their ears. It doesn't just satisfy their ears. And also ordinary music can never really, or any material thing can never actually satisfy us. But this music, this transcendental music, it goes to the soul, and it actually benefits the soul. So we take it out to the streets, and some people get agitated that it's the same thing over and over again, but they don't. But many people, they join in, and it gives them benefit whether they like it or not.
Yes, and these books basically they explain how to chant this Maha Mantra with the right consciousness. Also, we should not take it like some kind of a means to increase our material pleasures. The Maha Mantra is supposed to give pleasure to Krishna. So all these books explain who is Krishna, who is the Supreme Lord, who is who we are, and what is the relationship, why we're here, how we're entrapped here, how this material world is constituted. Everything is explained very nicely in these nice books by Srila Prabhupada. So these are our main activities: to chant outside the Maha Mantra, just like we did now, and then distribute the books of our spiritual master that convinces people to chant with us. And then we also throw festivals and feasts and classes, just like we have every day here on live stream and also here in person. You can also come. So we can get together and talk, person to person, answer questions that devotees might have by reading Prabhupada's books. And what is the most attractive feature of this Hare Krishna movement is that anyone can do this, and it doesn't have to join any church or an institution. Anyone can do this, and it's so simple. You simply chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And you read also. I read from Prabhupada. So anyway, today we can talk about London from the from the Krishna conscious point of view a little bit. Prabhupada says, maybe you can check, I found it there on the database. There's a Chaitanya Charitamrita statement.
Okay.
Yeah.
I shall read?
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada writes, in the year 1973, there was a gorgeous Ratha Yatra festival in London, England, and the car was brought to Trafalgar Square. The London daily newspaper The Guardian published a front-page photo caption, ISKCON Ratha Yatra is rival to the Nelson Column in Trafalgar Square. The Nelson Column is a very impressive statue of Lord Nelson and can be seen from a good distance. Just as the residents of Puri compared the Ratha Yatra car to Mount Seramu, the residents of London consider the car rival to the Nelson Monument. Well, we were just walking past the Nelson Monument yesterday. Yes. We were on our way to do some chanting in central London. Actually, it's very close walk away from the temple, only 15 minutes or so, and it is huge. Actually, it is a very huge statue. So to see or to know that Ratha Yatra, which is maybe you could explain Ratha Yatra, Prabhu, because it's got also kind of like a cryptic term.
Ratha Yatra is a very big festival that devotees are holding on the streets. They bring Lord Jagannath to the street so people can have a darshan. Darshan means that you see the deity of Krishna. So deity is in a temple, but during Ratha Yatra, everyone can see the deity. You bring him outside, these big chariots. So in 1973? 1973, yeah. Yeah, there was a big Ratha Yatra. It's also captured on a video right there in Trafalgar Square. And these big chariots, the London newspaper, they wrote that they're rivaling Nelson Column. And that column is huge.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like probably 60 feet tall. I'm not entirely sure. 6 feet maybe, 60 feet.
Govinda Dasi, she's remembering. She there's a memory by her where she's basically explaining the history behind this. Actually, today also I met a boy. He said that the British, they occupied India and they wanted to kill the Vedic culture. He actually knows about this. Okay. So the British, they came and they would invade India. They would steal all the jewels, diamonds from the deities, and they would introduce slowly the idea to the Indian people that their culture is primitive and they need to get westernized. And the Indian people have been very much scarred by this. Nowadays, Srila Prabhupada was complaining that I wanted to start a movement from India, but people are so much after they want to imitate the Westerners. So Srila Prabhupada says, I decided that let me go to the West. Let me convert the Westerners to Vaishnavism. And because the Indians, they have a tendency to imitate the Westerners, then in this way they become Krishna conscious. It's very complicated. Very complicated.
Roundabout way of making them Krishna conscious.
Yes, so Prabhupada had to work very hard because these British people have destroyed the culture in India. They have not destroyed, but yeah, they made it very difficult for the Indian people to understand their own culture because they would introduce this idea that this is primitive. The Vedas were written after the Bible, and all these lies basically just to control the resources, to steal the gold and the diamonds and all the resources.
You can see an effect of this also in the.
So I want to say,
Yeah.
so when Prabhupada held the Ratha Yatra
Mhm.
in Trafalgar Square, and you have this guy, Mr. Nelson, who is kind of like the conqueror, right? He was the Captain Nelson, or Admiral Nelson,
Yeah, Admiral.
conquering the other countries and stealing and whatever. So now, payback time. Prabhupada came with the original Lord Chaitanya's movement
Okay.
to chant right in front of this
Right.
column. So no, okay, you might have won the battle, but you
Right.
have not won the war.
Yeah.
Krishna has won the war, and Srila Prabhupada has invaded with Krishna consciousness the whole world in a nice way, in a peaceful way. Is invaded with culture, not with guns and weapons and brutal taking, exploitation or whatever. We're not taking anything, but we want to give them nice Krishna conscious love of God, love of Krishna. This is Krishna consciousness movement. So all this happened here in London.
Yeah, amazing. That's really like a huge scoff. I mean, they tried to suffocate the Vedic culture, and then the Vedic culture came to their very doorstep in such a big way, become a global phenomenon. So yeah, there's actually a lot of history with Srila Prabhupada coming to London. Of course, London is one of the busiest cities in the world. It's quite a metropolis, material metropolis. So of course the Hare Krishna history is also quite prolific in London. I myself am not so learned yet in the history of the movement, so Puruja Prabhu will have to enlighten us about these other historical events. But yeah, maybe Prabhu, you could tell us about the. I'd like to know about when they started the temple, the two Prabhus who came to London in the first place.
Two Prabhus?
Was it? Oh no, sorry, it was. I'm not just see. I don't know anything.
Three couples.
Three
There were
couples,
three couples. Yamuna Devi Mataji, her husband Guru Das, Janaki, her husband Mukunda, and the third one was Shyamasundar Malati. So Shyamasundar Malati, they were in prison.
Wow.
They were in prison for some drug related in the States.
Oh,
Before they joined the movement, they had some drug things, some drug busting. The police, some silly things, like probably smoked marijuana or something, and the police arrested them. So after they joined, they had to go and serve their sentences in a prison. Incredible. So in that prison, Shyamasundar had lots of time. This is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and he was thinking and meditating how to expand the movement.
wow, cool.
And he thought of, well, let's go and see the Beatles, because the Beatles at that time were the most famous band. Even now, they're the most famous band.
Right.
So they thought, well, let's get together with the Beatles. We have to preach to the Beatles. I mean, he conceived of this idea in a prison, in some prison in the States. So they released them shortly. It was a short sentence. And then Shyamasundar went, he actually wrote to Prabhupada, I think, and they went to Montreal to get some guidance. Srila Prabhupada told them how to perform kirtan. This Govindamari Purusham.
Right.
That Srila Prabhupada instructed them how to do this kirtan, all this nice, So Prabhupada, of course, approved and gave his blessings. And the three couples, they came to London without any money, nothing. They just came and they started chanting Hare Krishna. It's explained in different books. There's, for example, Mukunda, who is now a sannyasi. He wrote one book, and Guru Das wrote another book about this preaching. This morning I sent one story from one of these books to Sabina Mataji, who was asking how these deities. Actually, that's another story we had to tell. We were guests in the ISKCON Soho temple yesterday. Was it yesterday? Just yesterday, yeah, on Sunday. So nowadays, because of the coronavirus, they don't have any programs. So they just show the deity. And you can't even pay obeisances because it's against the law. Because of the coronavirus, you might contaminate it, and so on, so on. So we just came there, and of course, the deities look gorgeous. And what was I saying? Okay, so Srila Prabhupada, how he got these deities, that's another story. So anyway, you can ask Sabina Mataji what the story is. So Prabhupada installed the deities. They're called Radha, Shri Radha London Ishvara. London Ishvara means the master of London. That's a very special name. Very special name Prabhupada gave to this deity. He is the master of London, or the ruler, controller of London, the city of London. So yesterday we saw him. Looks amazing.
Yeah, also with there's Lord Jagannath there. And also Srila Prabhupada's murti is there. Very beautiful, everything. The temple room is also very ornate. A little bit smaller than I was expecting, but still very nice, very nicely decorated. The temple is in Soho Square, so that's also very close by to us. And but they have a very nice opportunity to do kirtan and harinam there, because there are many people who gather in a small park. So we went there and we met the Prabhus there, we met the devotees there. And it was very nice. We had a kirtan outside the temple with some nice devotees. Nick Palmer, and he was very kind, and he gave us a seat at his boutique where he's selling some spiritual style jewelry, and it was very ecstatic. He had also an associate there who was playing a shamanic drum. So you had this big dum 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 beat going on, and it was really very loud. It sounded just like a mridanga, and that was very nice. So we were able to chant the holy name for Shri London Ishvara outside the London temple there, and so that's kind of like roughly what basic our activities here in London so far. It's not been going on for so long, so maybe we can just are there any more notable instances in the history of Hare Krishna movement in London?
Well, this is the small temple, and then there's the big one, Bhaktivedanta Manor, that we still have to visit. Yeah, so anyway.
I actually mentioned one point here, in this connection, that we're actually going to do, and I say it on live and on podcast so that we can be held to it by the viewers and the fans. We're going to do a pilgrimage. Yesterday we were walking, and we're going to do a pilgrimage and film the notable locations, because there's also many pictures and videos of where Srila Prabhupada was taking walks or was preaching in the London area. So we can find those locations, and we can go and document them. We can also tour the Bhaktivedanta Manor. Maybe, we have a couple pictures from the Soho Temple. So, but we think we're going to go back and just do a pilgrimage at all these devotionally famous sites, not a mundane sightseeing tour. Of course, there's many mundane sites to see, but specifically we want the ones that are in relation to Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. So I think that'll be a pretty exciting project that's coming up very soon. I don't exactly know when we're going to do that, but we're here, so it will be happening.
We're just a little anxiety. There's an anxiety for us because very soon the weather is most likely is gonna change, so we don't have so much time to do lots of book distribution. So we're trying to do as much as possible now, and we're wondering what we're gonna do in the winter time. It's kind of like Krishna is putting us on a frying pan here. So we don't know exactly how we're gonna financially manage, but yeah.
Somehow or other, we're gonna pull through. Krishna's gonna provide. The London preaching must go on, even if I have to be out there in the cold with my fingers freezing off and distributing books. It will go on. So yeah, maybe. Well, I guess we can. We have this centre here in Waterloo, next to Waterloo Station, which is also quite a nice, convenient spot for people to come. And yeah, already people are very interested in coming to the temple. We already have some people who are coming to the temple throughout the week, and yeah, it's looking to be like a very exciting preaching in the winter, like Prabhu just mentioned. Because it can get quite cold in England, we're going to be inside for some of it, and then we can also create some more online content. So there's going to be a lot of fun on the Expand the Bliss channel, and possibly also some bigger projects on the Kick on the Face channel. Is it still called Kick on the Face?
Yeah.
No, that is a secret name. Forget you heard that. That's Retro Bliss. No, it's called Bliss Cinemas now, so a little bit more professional. Yeah. And yeah, so you can go to the Bliss Cinemas channel and check out some of the bigger movies we have there. And like that, we hope to be doing some projects online. Also, I don't want to speak too soon because so many things changed and so much stuff has changed in the past year. But there is a good possibility that we're going to be having an increase of devotees also coming to London. So our dear Mac and Prabhu and Sabina Mataji are planning to come here. Oh, we also don't know exactly how many devotees we can take. You've probably seen, if you watch the morning live streams, it's not a very big place. Being in central London, it's quite difficult to find somewhere that's very big for a reasonable price without breaking the bank, so to speak. So we're here in this small place, and to get a lot of devotees in here will be a challenge. But excuse me. So yeah, that'd be very exciting if we can get the other devotees here. Also, Bhakta Nace, I think, who is currently watching the Facebook stream. No pressure, but he told us he would be coming in December, just before the borders close. He's leaving it a little bit on the edge there. So that's very exciting also. So
Borders are already closed.
but on December 31st specifically, people can't come in, right?
Everyone can come in.
But after December 31st, there's something there.
They can't stay.
Can't stay.
They can't stay living here. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so that's the discrepancy that's happening on December 31st. But before then, Bhakta Nace Prabhu, he's going to be coming in, hopefully. So we're going to have a big Sangha here, and yeah, that's going to increase the preaching a lot. And then come the slightly warmer weather, England's generally not known for warm weather, but the slightly warmer weather, then there'll be even more preaching and book distribution on the street, Harinam Sankirtana. So it's going to be Vaikuntha here in London. So this is all post-dated check for now, but yeah. Anything else to add?
It's a rough plan, and let's see if Krishna helps us. We want to make a temple that would be stable, like a base, where devotees can practice Krishna consciousness, just like the two of us. We want to expand the bliss.
Jai. So, anything else to add to the podcast as a whole? I think we mentioned pretty much everything. I'm noticing also that my audio is very quiet here. I hope I wasn't too. That's not going to be too quiet. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. So, Hare Krishna. Thank you for listening and watching our live podcast. Okay. Now I remember one thing else we're gonna do here. This is a little extra behind the scenes. Okay. It seems that back to Nace Prabhu, he's got some messages there. Maybe we can read. I'm gonna set up.
Let's just finish the podcast.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhus. If you want to donate, everything, all the links are there in the description. And we'll see you next week. Hare Krishna.